Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and in today's video specifically, I want to discuss the fact that Bitcoin has actually done everything that I look for Bitcoin to do when I'm trying to decide whether or not Bitcoin has entered a new rally. There's several different indicators, several different oscillators, several different levels of resistance have been broken that do lead me to believe that Bitcoin has just entered and now confirmed a new rally. We're going to be discussing the health of that rally. We're going to be discussing where that may go, where it may end, all of that in today's video, but we're also, after that, going to be discussing some news in relation to the Bitcoin ETF. Now, this is a bit old news. This broke on the 20th and the 21st, depending on where you're looking at the news article, but I want to cover it in today's video because this got completely overshadowed by XRP running 110% yesterday, and this is still a very important piece of news. So if you guys haven't heard about this, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to be tying it back into Bitcoin price action and then making a very valid point, I hope, about why this is actually a big deal in relation to Bitcoin price action, because Bitcoin went up the day that this broke. Anyway, guys, before we get into today's video, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. It does help out the channel if you do it, and I would be appreciative if you did it. But without much further ado, I want to make one more point, and then we'll get right into it. I do apologize if you guys can hear a little bit of raspiness in my voice. That's because I'm having to record this video early in the morning, so I've just woken up, and also I recorded, what was it, 3 or maybe 4 course videos yesterday because the course is launching soon. I spoke to myself for 2 or 3 hours yesterday trying to get videos recorded, so my voice is a bit shot, so forgive me on that front. But anyway, now without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading just a little under $6,700, and this is a very significant price action. This is a very significant price for Bitcoin because, like we've been talking about for the better part of the last 2 weeks or so, we've been hoping and looking for Bitcoin to get above $6,600 because that was a very important level of resistance. Indeed, the entire zone between $6,500 and $6,600 was proving as an important level and rather an important zone of resistance. We were wanting to see Bitcoin get above this level because Bitcoin been hitting its head on us previously right over here. Now we have gotten above that. That's the first indicator that I'm using to decide whether or not we've run into a new rally or not. There are a couple others I'll show you in just a second, but of course, let's go ahead and do the crypto market recap. Bitcoin is currently trading at around $6,677, depending on what exchange you're looking at, but that's the composite that CoinMarketCap is giving us. Let's go ahead and give us this a refresh. About 6680, and we're down about 0.65% over the last 24 hours. Nothing really substantial. As you can see here on the wick, we do have a red candlestick there, but like I said, nothing that substantial. Apologies that the screen just went black, guys. That has to do with my mouse. I'm buying a new mouse. The new mouse is shipping. It'll be here like sometime next week. That's not going to keep happening for very long, but for now, I have to do that to fix my mouse so I can actually record videos. Anyway, continuing on here, Ethereum is currently trading at around $236 with a daily volume pretty healthy for Ethereum, up here around 2.6, and Bitcoin has a daily volume around $5.9 billion. Definitely good numbers for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also XRP. XRP has an insane amount of volume today, and that's because, of course, XRP at one point yesterday was at one point yesterday, it did 2 things very interesting. It was up 109%. You guys saw that in the thumbnail of yesterday's video. And also, at the same time, XRP for a couple of hours actually passed Ethereum as the #2 cryptocurrency. A very interesting thing. That hasn't happened in a very long time. I went back on the charts, and I was talking about in yesterday's video, I remember Bitcoin Cash passing Ethereum. There was a commenter talking about that, so I went back and I found it. That happened on November the 12th of 2017. The last time that I've seen a cryptocurrency pass Ethereum, it was Bitcoin Cash on November the 12th. So it's been a very long time since that happened. I do believe, I didn't check, but I do believe XRP passed Ethereum for a couple of minutes earlier on in 2018. But that's not something that happens very often, for Ethereum to be unseated. And I've never seen a cryptocurrency pass Ethereum for as long as XRP did. Now, of course, XRP used to be #2 back in 2015 and before that. And then Ethereum's kind of a newer player to the space. But in the time that I've been in the marketing way, I haven't really seen that. And it's definitely something interesting to watch. Anyway, XRP is still up about 10% over the last 24 hours. And Ethereum's also doing pretty well, up by about 4.45%. If we sort by change over the last 24 hours here, we see that Electroneum is actually doing very well today. It's up about 20%, with Emmercoin up about 11%, and XRP still sitting up here as the #2 gainer here on CoinMarketCap. We zoom down here, the market is overall kind of neutral with a definite red tinge to it. We also see two double-digit losers. We see Dropple and Aurora. It seems that Aurora is always at either the top or the bottom of this market, guys. If you've been trading Aurora and just swing trading Aurora on a short-term time frame, you've probably been doing pretty well, because it seems like every single video for the last week, excuse my phone, has been actually, Aurora's been at the top or the bottom of the market, which is definitely something that's kind of interesting. Very volatile coin. Those are the kind of coins you want to look for when you're trying to do your swing trading and a lot of short-term big gain trades with very easy trades like that. Let's go ahead and get on to the technical analysis in today's video, though, because like I said, every single indicator that I look at to determine whether or not Bitcoin has entered a new rally is currently saying that Bitcoin has entered a new rally. I went ahead and showed you one earlier on before we got into the crypto market recap, and that was, of course, Bitcoin breaking above $6,600. One thing that I look for when I'm trying to decide whether or not Bitcoin has entered a new rally is, has Bitcoin gotten above the last 2 weeks or so of resistance? Because that's typically what we see happening. And let me show you an example of that. In this rally up to $8,400, we had to get above $6,800, the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. Breaking that was one indicator that we were starting a new rally. Back over here on this rally, we needed to get above $6,600 because that was a previous level of resistance, and we got above that. And now we've gotten above $6,600 again, which coincidentally enough was also serving as our level of resistance for this new budding rally. Another thing that I want to look at is, of course, guys, the 20 daily exponential moving average. You guys know I'm a big fan of the 20 daily exponential moving average. I even there's a dedicated video to it on the course. That's how important this thing is. That's how much I love this moving average. That's how powerful it is. And we've gotten above it. I've said time and time again, I've been saying this for months, literally for like 4 or 5 months, that whenever you see Bitcoin above the 20 daily exponential moving average, you're in a rally. Whenever you're below it, you're in a downtrend. And when you cross it, you've just changed the state of the market, whether you're in an uptrend or a downtrend. And currently, we've just broken above it as we were breaking above $6,600, a very bullish sign indeed. Something else we want to look at is MACD. As you can see, we've had a bullish cross on the MACD. And something interesting occurs whenever you see a bullish cross on the MACD, because let's do a little bit of historical analysis on the MACD. As we can see, the MACD line is curved up above the signal line here, and we have had a cross in the last couple of days. The last 2 times that we've seen a bullish cross on the MACD on the daily chart was right here on August the 20th or so, and then right back over here on June the 28th or so. What does that correlate with? Well, it just so happens that that correlates with the bottom of the market right before a rally. The last 2 times that we've seen a bullish cross on daily MACD, a rally formed. And right now, in the last couple of days, we've seen a bullish cross on the MACD. Is it possible for the MACD to give us false signals and tell us that we're going north and then not go north? Is it possible to get a false signal from the MACD? Absolutely, guys. The MACD is nothing more than a mathematical equation. But based on historical price action, whenever we do see a bullish cross of the MACD, typically a rally follows suit, and typically you do see quite a bit of upwards movement. With all that said, where do I think we're going here? Well, there is a couple of problems with this rally that I don't think are going to be massive problems, and I'll show you why, but let's go ahead and talk about them. And that is that yesterday, Bitcoin did get resistance here at around $6,750 on not only kind of a semi-big even, 6750 is kind of a big even because it's 3/4 of the way to 7,000, but you're really starting to stretch the whole big even concept if you call that a big even, but it is nevertheless kind of a big even. And also, we got resistance on $6,800. That used to be the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and it used to be a resistance over here, so that is still an important level of resistance. We got resistance there, and we also got resistance here on the 100 exponential moving average, the 100 daily simple moving average, this gray line right here. And also, another thing, that's not the only level of resistance we got. We also got resistance on the 50, right around the 50 level on the Fibonacci retracement level, about 50% retracement from our recent high of $7,400. We got resistance there. So we got a lot of resistance yesterday at around $6,800, guys. But with that in mind, since we've just gotten above the 20 daily exponential moving average, and since we've just had a bullish cross on the MACD, and since we've just seen so much bullish price action come into the altcoins, I think some of it's probably going to be coming into Bitcoin pretty soon. And if we do see as much follow through because of these massive, really important breaks, and also because of this Bitcoin ETF news, which I'll get to in a minute, if we actually see the market follow through in the way that I think it will, which is a very bullish way, I don't think we're done here yet. I think it'll be pretty easy to get above this 50% level on the Fibonacci retracement, get above $6,800, get above the 100x simple moving average, and get above these levels of resistance. And here's the thing. If you get above those levels of resistance, of which there's about 4 of them at the same level, you have $6,800 a big even, you have $6,800 a previous level of resistance. Those are 2 different things. You have the 50% level on Fibonacci retracement, and you also have the 100 simple moving average. You have 4 levels of resistance that Bitcoin's looking at. If you break all 4 of those at once, that's going to be very bullish for Bitcoin, and I'll tell you where I think we're going if we do that. I think we're going straight to the 61.8% level on Fibonacci, which would be right up here close to the downtrend, up around $6,900. If we break $6,800, I think we're going straight to $6,900, and if we break $6,900, Well, I'll tell you what will happen then. I think by then we'll probably end up breaking this downtrend, and that would be extraordinarily good for Bitcoin. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Is all that going to happen? We'll see. Time will tell. But I do at least believe that Bitcoin's going to break $6,900, at least from what all the technicals are saying right now, at least from the kind of bullish exuberance we've seen come from the altcoins lately, and at least from the way the market has reacted to this Bitcoin ETF decision. So let me go ahead and check if my mouse is broken. It is. Let me do that thing again. I do apologize about the black screen, guys. There's literally... I ordered a new mouse. It's in the mail. But for right now, let's go ahead and get on to the Bitcoin ETF news. Like I said, this is slightly old news. This did break yesterday, and actually they announced it the day before yesterday. But I didn't cover it on the channel, and a lot of people didn't really put that much, they didn't put much of a spotlight on it when this broke, even though this was really big news. It got overshadowed by XRP running over 100% in 24 hours. So I do want to go ahead and cover this, even though this is a bit outdated, because I have a feeling a bunch of you guys didn't see this actually happen. Another delay, and this is really interesting, guys. The Bitcoin ETF has been delayed again, and I'm going to get into when it's been delayed too, because that's kind of a complicated subject in just a second. But for right now, just know that the Bitcoin ETF decision, the VanEck and SolidX Bitcoin ETF proposal, has been delayed again. It had there was a deadline for this of September 30th. That's why there used to be a vertical line on my chart right here at September 30th for a very long time. I got rid of it for whatever reason, but I don't have it on the chart now. But that's why I had that there, because that was the deadline. And what we've seen before is that the SEC has gone ahead and delayed the VanEck and SolidX ETF several times, about a week or so before the actual deadline. So I was expecting that the delaying, I should say, was going to be coming sometime around this time, and I don't think they were going to wait until the 30th. And I also didn't think they were going to deny it, because they really have no reason to deny it. But we'll get into that in a second. Anyway, this is an interesting thing that they start the article with here, and I actually have the original tweet up right here that I'll get to in a second. The SEC has already received 1,400 letters of comments regarding the VanEck SolidX Bitcoin ETF proposal. The commission is seeking more input from the public, according to a September 20th filing from the SEC. Despite the thousands of comments, the SEC feels it has not reached any conclusion with respect to any of the issues involved. And that's definitely an interesting thing, because the SEC hasn't ever accepted a Bitcoin ETF. The SEC has never accepted a Bitcoin ETF. They've never done it, but they are definitely giving this one some consideration. They've also delayed other Bitcoin ETFs, which they would eventually deny. So I'm not saying that just because they're delaying it, they're going to accept it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am also saying is that the SEC seems to be quite a bit more friendly and quite a bit more fond to the cryptocurrency space and to Bitcoin in general. And that's definitely a good thing to see coming out of one of the most important organizations in cryptocurrency that's not in cryptocurrency, that being the SEC. Because not only do American investors and traders and cryptocurrency technical analysts and participants in this space look to the SEC, the entire world does, because the United States is obviously one of, actually the largest market on the entire planet. So this is a very big deal for no matter what country you're in, because of the ramifications it will have on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency price actions. Anyway, prospective comments have 21 days respond. Prospective commenters, have 21 days respond after the SEC's order is registered, and those offerings have a rebuttal. Those offering a rebuttal have 35. Excuse me, guys. I've just woken up. I'm having to record this video early. Sorry for the poor speech. Anyway, the delay is not the first, and Bitcoin reported in late August the SEC has already shot down numerous Bitcoin ETF proposals citing market manipulation, which legal expert Jake Chernovisky said is the main concern. Excuse me, I'm terrible with names, guys. I don't know. Anyway, however, the crypto community has something of an ally in SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, affectionately called Crypto Mom. In early August, Peirce claimed that there is no reason to not let the Bitcoin ETF move forward, which is a very bold statement and a very bullish statement, I should say, coming out of Hester Peirce, someone that is very, very powerful in the SEC and someone that definitely has a lot of sway and a lot of influence in the SEC. The VanEck and SolidX proposal was initially put forth earlier this summer. I believe we started covering it back when we did start covering it back when this started breaking back in, I believe it was May. I don't remember the exact time period here, but we've been covering this story ever since it really became a story. And the next deadline for decision is expected to be published to the Federal Registrar soon and solicit more comments from the public. And this is something that I want to talk about, those comments to the public, because we have a quote here from Gerbax, Gerbax, that's his name. Anyway, he says, I am humbled and impressed by the public support of the VanEck SolidX initiative to bring them to market a well-constructed, liquid, physical, insured Bitcoin ETF. 1,400 plus comments, 99% plus in favor. The public has spoken. Bitcoin is compatible with the US and global crypto markets. And this is the original tweet right here. As you can see, that's verbatim what he said, of course. And that is definitely a very good thing to hear coming out of him, because he does work for VanEck, for VanEck rather. He does obviously have a bias here because he works for VanEck, but at the same time, I believe what he says is true. He's a digital asset strategist director at VanEck MVIS. So it's a very good thing to see this coming out of him. It's a very good thing to see this kind of bullish sentiment coming out of the commenters. It's a very good thing to see the bullish sentiment coming out of the SEC in general. And it's also not a terrible thing that it got delayed. I'm going to show you on the price action charts in a minute why that is. But anyway, I also want to get to when this deadline has actually been moved to, because the SEC is never all that clear on what the new deadline is. They never say, okay, well, now October the 57th is the new deadline, or whatever day they want to call it. I know there's not 57 days in October, but you get my point. They're never really very clear on this, so you kind of have to go and extrapolate what they say, what the new deadline is based on what legal proceedings they're quoting here. U.S. SEC sets 29th of December 2018 as new deadline for decision on VanEck SolidX Bitcoin ETF, and you have to go and extrapolate this. I'm not going to read all of this article, but I do want to go ahead and point out that the reason that they've come to this conclusion that it is actually the 29th of December is based on the way that the SEC has made this announcement. The order institutes proceedings under Section 19B2B of the Act to determine whether or not to approve or disapprove the proposed rule change. So if you go back and you look at that section, the new deadline is 180 days after the date of publication of the proposal in the Federal Register, which means the 2nd of July 2018 plus 180 days, or the 29th of December. So that's where we get that number from. That's the number that we're going to be working with for right now, because we don't really have an actual just a quotable number from the SEC that we can just go and point to. Now, there is one more thing that I want to talk about with this news, and that is how Bitcoin responded to this. And really, what I want to talk about mainly is that Bitcoin didn't respond to this, which is a very good thing, because when the Bitcoin ETF was delayed back over here, I believe it was on the 7th, I believe it was on this candlestick, the 7th of August back over here, it caused a major crash in Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a major retracement. We'll go ahead and look at it right here. Bitcoin had a major, it really did not react very well to this at all. It was very bad for the market when this initially happened. It was right over here. Bitcoin was trying to get a little recovery going, and then we had the Bitcoin ETF delayed, and we saw 3 black crows, and we pulled all the way back down to $6,100 from $7,100. We dropped about $1,000 in about a day. Not all because of this. It was also because the pullback broke some technical levels, etc., etc., etc. But the point was, it was very bad for the market, and it really screwed over any kind of rally that we were trying to attempt to reignite. It really messed up the entire cryptocurrency market. It just wasn't very good for the market. And it was very bad for the market, and that's why a lot of people, including myself, were concerned about this new deadline coming up, because we were worried that, okay, well, this deadline's going to come up. They're probably going to delay it. I don't think they'll deny it, and I don't think they'll accept it. They're probably going to delay it, right, because the SEC likes to delay things, and of course, governments like to take their sweet time on things. But they delayed it, and not a whole lot happened. In fact, the time that they delayed it back over here on the 20th was a very good day for Bitcoin, and that's because Bitcoin shrugged the news off. And that's what I wanted to, that's the point I want to make here, guys, is that news is only important based on how many people are actually paying attention to it. And I've talked about this before. You can watch that video in the top right. I've talked about this before as to why the Bitcoin ETF is important, because it's important. It's like how I use the analogy a lot. It's because like they say the Kardashians are famous because they're famous. The Bitcoin ETF is important because it's important. I love the ETF because of the utility it brings and the precedent it sets. I love the ETF for many different reasons. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the price action that is being caused, a lot of the price movement on Bitcoin that is being caused by it is not being caused for fundamental reasons. It's being caused for FUD and FOMO reasons whenever some kind of news comes out about this. So I'm very happy to see that we just completely ignored it, and the market completely ignored it this time. And also because XRP stole the spotlight and a lot of people didn't even know this story broke, it hasn't had a major negative impact on the market, which is a very good thing, because we've really needed that not to happen, because we're sitting in a very precarious situation right here, just a tad above $6,600. And when this actually broke back over here, we were just trying to get above $6,600. I'm very happy that this hasn't had a negative impact on the market. That's definitely a bullish sign, and that's definitely a good sign for the crypto markets in general. Anyway, guys, that's basically going to do it for this video. Tell me in the comment section down below what you think of this new rally, which I believe Bitcoin is forming. Do you believe what I say, and do you agree with what I say that Bitcoin's probably going to come up here, test this downtrend, and hopefully break it? I think that's the most likely scenario anyway, is that we at least go and test it. Whether or not we break it, I'm I'm leaning to saying that we break it just because of a lot of things that I haven't gotten to in this video. I am leaning to saying that we're going to break it, but like I said, time will tell, and we'll have to look at that in more detail when the time comes. Tell me in the comment section down below what you think about the Bitcoin ETF being delayed again. Are you very happy, like I am, that it didn't completely wreck the market when this news broke? I'm definitely very excited for that. Anyway, guys, I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.